Leave me the fuck alone. Period. Leave me the fuck alone. Don't tell me keep my head up. Don't tell me none of that fake ass shit y'all talking about. If you want my nigga before this, and you want to hit me up on a daily basis or a weekly basis before this shit, don't fucking hit me up because you fake as fuck. So leave me alone. All the way. Don't text me. Fuck you. All the way. And I mean that. So don't text me.
In February 2019, a 19-year-old hip-hop artist, YNW Melly, was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Police said he and another Florida rapper, YNW Bortlen, killed 2 of their friends and staged the crime scene to look like a drive-by shooting. The 2 murders happened just days after they finished filming a documentary celebrating the success of YNW.
The latest on a South Florida rapper arrested and charged with murder.
His name is YNW Melly, and he's accused of gunning down 2 friends and then trying to cover it up.
In June 2023, Melly, whose real name is Jamel Demons, went on trial in Florida, pleading his innocence on all charges. Today, Melly sits in Broward County Jail at 25 years old, awaiting a retrial that will determine the rest of his life. If convicted of the alleged murder of 2 close friends, he faces either life in prison or the death penalty. Melly was born in May 1999 in South Florida, where he was raised by his single mother. She gave birth to him at just 14 years old. He never knew his father, life was tough, money was always tight, and Melly grew up watching his mother struggle to meet even basic needs. She worked long hours to provide for him as a single mother. In kindergarten, Melly met Christopher Thomas Jr., later known as YNW Juvy. They became best friends and lived in the same neighborhood, so they began spending a lot of time together. As a young child, Melly's environment had already started to play a big part in the type of lifestyle that would become his reality. He went from playing with toy guns to real ones at just 9 years old. One day, after school, he found a .22 revolver under his uncle's couch. Instead of being frightened, he was intrigued. Without hesitation, he took the gun outside and fired it, which left his ears ringing for a week. But it wasn't enough to stop his fascination. Instead, he started carrying the weapon everywhere with him, even to school. A few years later, when Melly was in the 7th grade, he brought a knife to school and threatened to take his own life. This led to him being detained in a psychiatric hospital for a week because of the Baker Act, also known as the Florida Mental Health Act, which is a law that provides emergency services and temporary detention for people with mental illness who are experiencing a crisis. As Melly grew older, he became more involved with gang activity and started to hang out with the Bloods in his area, searching for a sense of identity and belonging. But while involved in the chaos of the street, he also discovered his passion for music. He was mesmerized with artists like Chris Brown and Michael Jackson, and began telling people that he wanted to pursue music as a career. In 2014, when Melly was 15 years old, he started recording songs and uploading them to platforms like SoundCloud and YouTube. His natural ability to both sing and rap made him stand out, and it wasn't long before he adopted the name YNW Melly.
What does YNW stand for?
Young New Wave.
What?
Really stands for Young Nigga World, but kids watch.
His closest friends, including Juvy, Sakchaser, and Bortlen, followed his lead, and the group came together under the YNW Collective. Even though Melly was focusing more than ever on music, that still didn't keep him out of trouble. Another major incident occurred on October 19, 2015. Melly, who was a 16-year-old freshman at the time, pulled up near his high school and opened fire on 3 people with a semi-automatic weapon. While his motive remains unclear, he was eventually arrested after attempting to ditch the gun. He was charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and 1 count of discharging a firearm in public. As a result, Melly would spend over a year in jail, giving him time to reflect on his future. During this period, Melly first began speaking of his split personalities. He described himself as having 2 sides: Melly, the creative and calmer persona, and Melvin, the darker and more reckless side. It was also during this time that he wrote lyrics for what would become some of his most famous songs. including Murder on My Mind and Blue Balenciagas.
We gon' pull up with them sticks and hop out with them choppers. Walking out the 10 and Blue Balenciagas.
In 2017, while still incarcerated, Melly released his first project, Collect Call, which was a group of songs he recorded before he was locked up. The mixtape received some local attention, and it featured rapper Lil B.
Lil B, the bass god. I was saying this to Tyler, the creator, on set recently because Tyler had no idea that I was knighted by Lil B, and then he said he could sense my aura. Gave off someone who had been knighted by Lil B.
As well as the then unknown fellow Florida singer Rod Wave. Once Melly was released from jail later in 2017, he immediately returned to the studio, recording everything he had written during his time in jail. This included tracks like Murder on My Mind and Catching Feelings, which began to gain some attention online. But in the moment, it seemed like Murder on My Mind was more of a burden than a blessing for the artist.
Wake up in the morning, I got murder on my mind. AK-47's Mac-11.
Melly claimed that the song was actually used against him as a probation violation, causing him to return to jail for another 6 months until February of 2018. The song still didn't gain huge popularity online until later in 2018, a full year after it was originally released. During that time, 300 Entertainment signed Melly and had him re-release Murder on My Mind as a single to promote his first project that would be released while signed, which was a mixtape titled I Am You. They put out a music video for Murder on My Mind the same day the mixtape dropped, and from there, it went crazy.
I got murder on my mind. I got murder on my mind. Yellow tape around his body. It's a fucking homicide.
A year after its initial release, the song would reach number 14 on the Billboard Hot 100. Murder on My Mind eventually achieved 6 times platinum status. Melly was blowing up and thriving in the world of hip-hop, but he continued to struggle with the law. And during the summer of 2018, he was arrested in Lee County, Florida for possession of a weapon by a convicted felon and another count for possession of marijuana. For some time, despite his criminal activity, he always seemed to bounce back out of jail to continue making music and to further his career, and even had a song featuring Kanye West that would later get its own lyrical Lemonade video with Cole Bennett.
I think I got mixed personalities. This bitch switched up my whole mentality.
But then came an incident that would change everything. In the early hours of October 26, 2018, Melly and other members of YNW, including Juvy, Sakchaser, and Bortlen, left a recording studio in Fort Lauderdale around 3 a.m. Security footage allegedly shows Melly getting into the car with his friends as they left the studio that night. They all got into a Jeep Compass. Bortlen was driving, Sakchaser was in the passenger seat, and both Melly and Juvy were sitting in the back. According to the initial account, another vehicle pulled up alongside them and began shooting at their car. Sakchaser and Juvy were fatally shot in the head and died before reaching the hospital. It was originally reported that Melly was not in the car during the shooting. The following day, as people grieved, Melly posted a heartfelt tribute to his friends on social media, mourning their loss. However, law enforcement quickly began questioning the story. By February of 2019, police had built a case against Melly and Bortlen. Their investigation suggested the shooting wasn't a drive-by at all. To start, phone records placed Melly in the car at the time of the shootings, despite his initial claim that he wasn't there. This is a huge red flag that prosecutors have focused on. According to evidence, the group had taken a different route than they had initially claimed. Cell phone records placed them near a waste treatment plant.
There was a map that was presented to the jury, and it had areas on there pinned, like the crime scene and the reported shooting. And significantly, the prosecution has asserted that the cell phone data shows that YNW Melly, or Mr. Demons, was with the victims about 15 minutes before they were taken to the hospital.
The initial story was that another car pulled up and fired at them in a drive-by. However, police found no evidence of another vehicle at the scene or of a drive-by attack. Instead, ballistic reports revealed that the shots came from inside the car, specifically the back left seat, which is the spot where Melly was seen getting into the car. Prosecutors also point to forensic evidence indicating the victims were shot at close range. They had stippling from gunpowder on their skin, which suggests that the gun was fired from a short distance, consistent with an execution-style shooting, something that doesn't really match up with the claim of a random drive-by. And forensic analysis showed no sign of another vehicle being present at the scene. Furthermore, a shell case matching the murder weapon was found under the seat where Melly had been sitting. Authorities accused Melly and Bortlen of staging the shooting to make it look like a drive-by. There's also claim of an alleged incriminating message from Melly himself. Police say they uncovered a video in which he reportedly says, "There's no regret to the stuff I did, for that person to die." While this video hasn't been made public, authorities claim it's a key piece of evidence. Melly also allegedly made questionable comments in a conversation with his girlfriend, saying, "I did that. Shush." While this could refer to anything, prosecutors argue it's worth considering in the larger context. When looking at potential motives, one of the strongest that surfaced involves Melly's girlfriend. According to depositions from Melly's girlfriend's mother, YNW Sakchaser allegedly sent explicit photos to Melly's girlfriend. This claim has added a new layer to the case by suggesting there were personal tensions within the group. With all this evidence, prosecutors are working to piece together their case against Melly, who continues to maintain his innocence. Whether these claims hold up in court remains to be seen, but they're central to the ongoing trial. Melly's defense team is led by a lawyer who famously helped Lil Boosie avoid a death sentence. Throughout the trial, his lawyer has expressed confidence in the case. Some believe Melly will walk free due to a lack of concrete evidence. But sadly, the violence surrounding this case has continued. In 2020, YNW Bortlen's father was reportedly targeted and shot 3 times in what some suspect was a retaliation for the deaths of Juvy and Sakchaser. In June 2023, YNW Melly went on trial in Florida, pleading his innocence on all charges. The judge declared a mistrial, but the rapper is expected to be retried in September of 2025. Melly, who's now 25 years old, could face the death penalty if found guilty of first-degree murder. This entire case remains clouded in mystery, with many unanswered questions. Their alleged motive still remains unclear, and theories have circulated, but no definitive answers have emerged. For now, his fate is uncertain, and the world has to wait to see how this story will unfold.